running, both feel we're living worlds apart. It's fucked now, we lost in limbo. Remembering what you said though, and I asked you if we'd make it far. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. I trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be. Then she said no, 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 no. No, 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 you should. I've earned the cost and now I've paid it. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, please don't go. I know my face, a memory erasing. Been a few years since I heard your voice, yeah. Lost a few here, but it's not by choice, no. Girl, I see your face every day when I look through my phone. Can't delete all these memories, won't leave me alone. Hit my blind side, never saw it coming. You were so wild, both know I was nothing. And I'm nothing now, nothing's changed, you know I'm just the same. Miss you now, but I hope that someday you explain. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. Trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be.
Hello, friends. How is everyone doing? Did you guys get a notification? Because it didn't go off on my phone. 1 second. Let me just check something here. Okay, well. Perfect. All right. How's everyone doing? We are going to be talking about Summer Wells' story. We're mainly going to be talking about Don Wells, to be honest with you. But you did not. Maybe because I went more than live 3 times today. I think they only give you 3 notifications a day, but it usually dings on my phone and it didn't. So maybe people will stroll in here in a minute. We have a special guest, Trevor Lee, who's going to be coming up. We are going to be talking about Don Wells, some of the remarks that he's made. That link is for Trevor. And we'll get started in a minute. No notification, just saw you in my feed. I don't know what. YouTube has been messing up terrible in the last couple weeks. Like, I think it was last week, it showed I had 1 person in on my, I don't know, it's just crazy. But hello, Katie Mason. Trevor, you want to come on up? That link, did I drop the link? Okay, yeah, I dropped the link. Okay. So what we're going to be doing, we are going to be, mods, I'm going to drop, oh, not that link, hold on. I want you to drop this link in, and this is the interview room with Chris McDonough. I'm going to, because we're going to be playing some voice clips of some of the call that he did with Dawn like a year ago. And make sure you put that in the chat so people can see the full video. And if you've seen the video, I recommend please go back, because we forget so much, because there's this information overload, especially in this case. Hey Trevor, how's it going?
Hey Justin, how are you?
Good. So yeah, it's been a long time. Trevor, tomorrow is Summer Wells' birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through the old stuff of the Summer Wells, because in the beginning that's when you get the most truth.
Right.
People's minds haven't faded. Things are more put together, and truthfully, if someone is lying, they continually, and many people, cops have said this, police officers, just uh, they'll fix their stories as they go along. And I was listening to some of Don's things that he said, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot he said that. So what I have done, I have compiled some clips from a phone call that Chris McDonough did from the interview room. Go subscribe if you don't know who he is, which I don't know how anyone would know who the godfather of true crime is, but anyway. Anyway, link is in the description and it is in the chat as well. So, and these were just the ones that I kind of thought was just off the hand and a little craziness. I need to find my notebook. I don't know what I did with it. So, but oh well, hell with it. We'll worry about it later. And I want your input. I want your raw input, Trevor. No filter. I just want, and I want to hear the chat's input on this. What they think about these comments that has been made. So, without further ado, we'll get started. Possibly. Let me see if I'm doing this right. Okay.
So she's not.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay. So, can y'all see this? Okay, yeah, you can see it. Okay. Perfect. Summer Moon, Utah Wells. Tomorrow she would be 7. And if there's any hope of her being alive, God, it would be the most amazing thing. The most amazing thing. But I don't see it, to be quite honest with you. But there's always hope. There's always hope. So I have compiled these comments that Don has made with Chris McDonough, and we're going to go through them, and we'll just start. So, and I want to hear the chat. I don't know if I need to mute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mute, and let me know if you can hear it. And if you can't, then I'll fix it. So.
I knew as soon as I pulled up, as soon as I pulled up, and I didn't get a call back from Candace saying, "Oh, we found her," and I come all the way out from Jonesboro, and I probably made it in 30 minutes at least, if not faster. But I beat all the police there, and I went straight to the bottom property. And I seen everybody look, and I knew she was gone. What was your feeling? I knew.
Could y'all hear that? Okay, you could hear that? Okay. So, Trevor.
Yep.
He said, I knew as soon as I pulled up. Hold on. Let me replay that again. Because
I knew as soon as I pulled up, as soon As soon as I pulled up, I didn't get a call back from Candace.
As I knew, as soon as I pulled up, I didn't get a call back from Candace, right? Now, this is the thing. I might be missing something on this. He said that he talked to Candace the entire way, and there was no disconnection on the phone, and he was surprised at that. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Okay. And then he said, I tried to get a hold of Candace, but I thought, but you said, because I mean, you're local. You're local.
Yes.
I've been to Ben Hill Road, and I have AT&T. I did not get a bar of service there personally. Now, maybe others have. I don't know. But what I'm saying is I remember him saying, and I think it's in here somewhere, where I clipped it, but he says, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. These are some of the first people I've met or that I know of that can do 5 different things at once. I mean, you've got somebody who talked on the phone all the way back, like you just said, but then at the same time was surprised that he didn't get another call from the same person he was allegedly on the phone with the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just,
And I'm going to be a little bit less filtered this evening than I normally am, because this case frustrates all of us creators, whether we have disagreements or not. It frustrates all of us. I can say
absolutely.
that for sure. And Don has a way of saying 3 things at once, and it's his, I call it his, his bullshit barometer, because he tries, and a lot of people, he tries to confuse you by saying 3 different things at one time, and it just doesn't cut, and that's why he gets so mad at people who says, no, back up with what you just said there. Finish that. Please finish what you just said before you say 3 more things.
Right.
And that's how police work. They want you to finish what you started. You know what I mean? So
saying, "Oh, we found her," and I come all the way out from Jonesboro, and I probably made it in 30 minutes at least, if not faster. But I beat all the police there, and I went straight to the bottom property. I seen everybody looking. I knew she was gone.
there's another lie in that as well. He did not beat all the police.
No.
He did not beat all the police. And if I remember correctly, Chris from the interview room called him out on that, and he's like, "Oh, well, maybe there was, maybe I don't remember." You know what I mean? It was all of that kind of Donisms,
Right.
for
Well,
lack of Donisms.
the dispatch call, when they reported that Don called from work and they immediately dispatched basically they called in so many people, and there's no way that at least one of those officers wasn't closer than Jonesboro, considering
Absolutely.
they're just
Now, how fast is Jonesboro from Ben Hill Road, approximately? Do you have an idea?
let's see, it'd be a little ways. I don't want to throw an exact estimate, but it would definitely be longer than anybody within the county. You can get anywhere within Hawkins County where officers would be compared leaving from Jonesboro, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's see. Let me check here. 110 Ben Hill Road. I'm going to check here what it says. So he probably did make it within 30 minutes, because it says 36 minutes. one way, 39 minutes, and 47 minutes. Now, he didn't take 81, though, did he? He took the back roads, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think he came in from the back road because where he was coming from and the way he came back in.
Hey, Muscles, you want to come up? Muscles is a local too.
Oh yeah, I know her.
If you want to come up, Muscles, I'd love to have you. Because I know you care so deeply about Summer.
She really does.
She really does. She's a solid gal. Oh, thank you, Linda. Good to see you, hun. Yes, he took the back roads and went fast. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. If you are in a hurry to get somewhere, right? Why the hell are you going to take the back roads? Haven't you ever heard of a country mile? There, it's curvy as hell, first of
Yeah.
all, right? And he's like, well, I could have done, I was flying because, I wanted to get fast there. Okay. No problem, Muscles. You just let me know. No pressure. So, why would you take all of these back roads? Like, put your hazard lights on and go down the freaking interstate.
What's the thing? Because you've been out here, you know that back area, those roads, you can only go a certain speed even if you wanted to go faster, you'd fly off the road.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
go
I
on the
mean, you're going to
interstate
end up
and
at someone's house.
haul down the interstate where you can actually go faster than the normal speed.
Exactly. I mean, that you can only drive so fast on those roads. I mean, I'm from Appalachia. I still live I live 2 hours away from Jonesboro. So, but I just, these things just don't add up. It's just one thing after another. And this case drives all of us creators insane. And you know that, Trevor, more than anyone as well.
Oh yeah.
And this is the thing. And I appreciate Josh from the lab last night. By the way, if you didn't see Josh's live last night when Don called in, please go see it.
Go check it out.
Pop some popcorn too, please. Then Chris from the interview room comes up, and it was just like chef's kiss. Chef's
Oh,
kiss.
Don walked himself into something he cannot back himself out of.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Don was at or near his home on June 15th. Remember the wrecked red truck? The call was on 15th around noon. You can listen to the dispatch call on Broadcastify. What do you mean he was near home? He was at work in Jonesboro. I don't know what you mean. I mean, if he's now saying he was at home, okay. I would probably believe him better.
Multiple people have placed him away from the work site, but he goes by
Yeah.
that he was there all day.
Yeah. In my opinion, he was not there all day.
No, absolutely not. Fire
In
the
my
person you work with the day before that, then you're the only one out there and you don't come home.
Yep. Yeah. Don always spackles himself into the corner.
He's good at
Yes,
that.
thank you, Essie, for putting the lab. Oh my god, I have to see that everywhere. Listen, Lisa, we are not. No cops talk to him in his white truck. Okay, that's no. Well, I mean, I don't know where you're getting that, but it's not true. That work site is very close, very easy to leave, return, leave, no time clock. Oh, absolutely. It's I think he made him an alibi for sure.
Yeah, the thing is, it's if you're the only one there, it's hard to place yourself there, but it's also hard to place that you weren't there.
Yeah.
How do you say that you can't have anybody say that they didn't see you or they did see you because you're the only one there, and he knows that.
Absolutely. you know, and I think maybe he did see his boss or some other place at another job site or whatever, but I can't help but think he took that car that morning for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind.
Why take the new car to a work site where you do physical work where things get dirty, paint? I mean,
yeah. Why that? And yeah, I mean, and you know that old truck, you don't have any type of navigation in it or anything, right?
right.
It doesn't, you can't find out where that truck has been unless there's, cameras or whatever. But Don talked with the cop at the wrecked. Yes, he talked. Wasn't that the day before at the bottom of the hill or that morning? I can't remember. But that was early of the morning.
Yeah.
Early of the morning. That was not of the evening time.
No, that was way earlier.
Way earlier. I don't even know if it was I can't remember if it was the morning of or not. But okay, let's go on to the next one. Maybe. Okay. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me pop this off. I got too many windows open. Okay.
Because you don't go away from the house ever. Yeah. And that's why.
Okay. Here's the next one.
What was your feeling as to why they weren't listening? What's your gut? I'm not sure why. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I mean, probably because they figured that she was just lost. I don't know what I'm talking about, and and they had they all had different questions and this and that, and probably because many times before it's always been the parents too, and so
Okay. That isn't what Chris asked. That's not what Chris asked. Chris asked why do you think they weren't listening to you? And Don's like, blah, 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 spouts off. And then, okay, butterfly kisses, you're wrong. Sorry. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked because of that. Hold on, let me get my thoughts in place again. That wasn't the question with, the question was, why do you feel like they're not listening? And he's spouting off things, and then it's just, and it's usually the parents. It's usually the parents. Listen to this one more time.
I'm not sure, but I just knew that she was headed down the road somewhere in somebody's car, and no matter what I was saying, it just wasn't getting through. I just felt like I was just totally lost. I was in shock. What was your feeling as to why they weren't listening? What's your gut? I'm not sure why.
So this is a Donism. What is your feeling that they weren't listening? He says, I'm not sure why, right? I'm not sure. Now he's going to give you 3 or 4 reasons. So
since she's not here, I come to that conclusion right away. But because we tried to scare them. What was your feeling as to why they weren't listening? What's your gut? I'm not sure why. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I mean, probably because they figured that she was just lost. I don't know what I'm talking about, and and they had they all had different questions and this and that, and probably because many times before it's always been the parents too, and so or whatever. I'm not sure, but I just knew that she was headed down the road somewhere in somebody's car. And
Okay. He's not sure, and then he says they asked a bunch of questions. That is always what police do.
Yeah.
Whether you are a suspect or not a suspect, they have to ask questions.
One thing about that really, sorry,
No, please.
one that really frustrated me is when he goes off and says, "I just know that she got in a car and was taken." It's like when you have absolutely zero knowledge of that, you weren't even there, and you're gonna make that bold of a claim about the case, not knowing anything about where she could be.
That's a huge claim.
You
That
didn't
is
see
a
anything. You weren't
huge,
even there. If Candace said that, maybe Candace heard a car. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate, and she
right,
says that makes that claim. Okay, you were gone,
right,
Dawn. You have zero idea. She could have jumped and been in a tree for all you. You could have no idea. You were
right.
gone. So to make that big of a claim when police are trying to find out what happened, that's probably why they're not listening to you, because you're just throwing out claims from nowhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the thing. Like, even let's say Don and Candace have nothing to do with this. He says so much what would be considered useless information. It doesn't hold weight.
Right.
They couldn't take him seriously anyways, because he says 3 or 4 things that he says. He starts with "I don't know," right? And then they ask me a lot of questions, and then what is it? I know she's in a car headed down the road. And let me turn my phone off. And then it's back to "I don't know" again, right? So, I mean, what the hell is the police supposed to do with that to begin with?
I mean, I'm no
How do you
expert, but
dissect that?
right. I'm no expert, but I don't think that a middle of a crisis emergency situation is the time to fluff up a conversation. Like when you call
Absolutely.
911, they don't ask you how your day was. They ask you the facts of the situation and get it going.
Yes.
A, B,
Yes.
C, and D. That's it. Not what do you think happened? What is going on in your head? No, it's this, the facts, and we're going to deal with it.
And I understand that is the human condition. And a lot of people think a lot of 911 workers are being rude, because most people want to tell them too much.
Right.
Don wants to tell them too much, and then nothing, and then too much, and then ends it with nothing again. That's how Don wants to do it. They need information, right? Information. And if you don't have the information, you don't say, "I just know she's going down a car right now." Yes, exactly, vet girl. No is an intriguing word. Okay, I'll drop a link. So this has always stuck out to me. How Don does this. So
so she's not here, I come to that conclusion right away. But and what? I let her know,
Okay.
So she's not here.
So we just heard the other clip prior to that, and he says, I just know she's not here. I just know she's not here." You just said you don't know, then you do know, and then you don't know.
You don't know
again.
where she is, but she was taken in a car, but you don't know what's going on, but she's not on the property, but you don't know.
Exactly.
I come to that conclusion right away. But and what brought you to that conclusion? That was pretty quick, right? I mean, just knowing her, and that because we tried to scare the heck out of her and let her know, because we do have bears, right?
Okay.
We tried to scare the heck out of her and let her know, because we do have bears.
Hold on. Okay. I just know she's not here because we tried to scare the heck out of her. ... because we do have bears. Help me, people. It's double, triple, very much talk. Hey, Muscles.
Hey, good evening. How are you guys?
Good. How are you
Good.
doing?
How are you? Thank you for
Good.
coming up.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, what do you think about these Dawnisms?
You know all about my what I think about these Donnisms. I think there's a lot of fluff and a little bit of truth, but there's truth when the truth we need to be sure we're listening for, is my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, a lot of people have subscribed to getting, closer with Dawn lately. And I don't think there's a need to be a complete asshole to him. You know what I mean? But if you want to talk factual things, that's one thing. But, you know, patting the puss is not going to work. You know what I mean? It's not going to get you any answers. It's just going to get him on your panel. That's the only thing it's going to do, in my opinion.
Well, it's
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead, Trevor. No, go right
I was
ahead.
just gonna say that. I mean, once we hit June of this year, we'll have had 2 years of people doing that and zero answers.
And where have we
And
gotten?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not,
People bring him on. They brought him on since Summer went missing, and they
yes.
let him go on, and they buy into his emotional manipulation, or just pretend they are, and
Yep.
feel bad for him and tell him how great he is, and then he starts talking, and then he just starts talking about himself. Just the other
That's
night,
it.
he was on a channel and he was doing that. He maybe answered one question about Summer. The rest was just about him.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was going to say too, Trevor, is it's always ends up being about Dawn and Candace. And you know, and in the grand scheme of things, I'm like you, Justin, I'm not trying to be, I'm going to be an asshole to anybody, you know, I'm just not worth it. But at the same time, you know, I go back and think about how we even got here. And we know the stories that we do know from their own mouths, what they're responsible for. And you cannot just let that go. You cannot just
No.
pretend that didn't
No.
exist. I
Right.
mean, those
Yeah.
children went through something and we're here for a reason,
Yes.
regardless if they know exactly what happened or whatever. Um, you know, he talks in circles the whole time. We get that all the time. And it's the same stuff over and over again about how they're victims of YouTube. And quite honestly, they're not a victim of anything.
No.
Summer and those boys are the
Yes.
victims. End of
Yes.
story.
All 7 children are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All 7 children. And Vet Girl, we are going to get there. Who goes to a shed if he knew she was not there? We're going to get to that.
Well, I mean, last
I
night
I
he said
clipped
that he
that.
was a victim. He was a victim of
Oh, preach.
everything.
He sure
Did you
did.
hear that
He
last night, Muscles?
did you hear
Yes,
that?
sir, I did.
He was a victim in Summer's
Oh,
case. He's a victim in his stepsister's case. He's the victim here, guys.
Yep, he said that with his own mouth. Exactly.
Lord, honey, the
Listen.
Holy Spirit washed over me last night on that.
Oh,
Oh,
I'll tell you, I was
Tell
texting
you that
Justin. I
one.
was like, "Are you hearing this? This cannot be what's going on right
Yeah.
now."
I
Uh,
went into would tell my husband too. I said, "You ain't gonna believe what he just said out of his mouth." He literally called himself a victim. I mean, I
I
was
knew
furious too. I
it
was
was going to get
furious.
crazy when he asked to come up on there. I knew it was going to like mimic the call I got. I knew it was going to be rough,
yeah.
and it sure was.
Yeah. It's like drunk, check, right?
Angry, check.
N-word, he says, check, right? Victim, check. All about me, check. F this person. You know what? It's the same greatest hits of Don Wells.
And
Yep.
it's a name drop. It's I'm a victim, and I'm gonna tell you who has victimized me. And
Yes.
last night it was Josh because that's the channel he was on, and it was
Yes.
Chris McDonough, and then me.
Yes.
Those are the people. I
Yes.
mean, it's just it's somebody different each time. It's these. Everybody has ruined my life. What about your daughter who we have no idea where she is? How about her life? Or your boys who have been put into foster care for 17 months now? What about those? What about them? What about the stepsisters that you did these things to? We want to
Yeah.
talk about victims. Let's actually talk about people who have been victimized, not you who lives in a house that you were handed and you can sit home and do nothing and whine on YouTube about how your life is so poor and pitiful.
Yep.
If I
Yep.
am the last creator on YouTube, I will never, ever think Don and Candace are good people.
Nope.
No.
I won't.
No,
And to me, it's irregardless whether they did this to Summer or not.
exactly.
It
Thank
it
you.
it I mean, if you have seven children, and you don't have one of them.
Nope.
Exactly. Yep.
And
And you can't
it's
forget
not
that.
because you can be a victim seven times.
YouTube didn't take 7 kids from you.
Well,
No,
exactly. YouTube didn't
no.
take 7 kids from you. And how about some, accountable for your actions?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they wouldn't go see the kids that they, when they got taken away, the boys, they didn't go see them hardly. I think maybe one time, right? They said it was too far.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would
Yeah,
walk
that was
through
their
hell.
complaint.
I know you got. I mean, I know you would, Muscles, right? Trevor, I don't think you have kids, but
Yeah,
uh, you'd walk through hell for your loved ones.
absolutely.
Yep.
And I think that's what I always go back to, and I say this all the time, but it's where's the begging and pleading for your daughter? Like, never bring yourself up ever again. Nobody wants
Yeah,
to hear about how you feel. This is not about you. It never has been about you. It never
yeah,
will be about you, whether you're guilty or not of anything. I don't even care at this point. Right now, I want to know where Summer is, and at the end of the day, that's what this has always been about. And if you cannot get on and talk about anybody but her. And Summer is the one that deserves to be talked about. These kids are the ones that deserve to be talked about. And right now, that's all that there ever has been a focus on, and they cannot do it. And that
yeah.
tells me all I need to know.
Well, as a parent, the day you become a parent, it's not about you anymore.
Not
It's really,
exactly.
and you really don't understand that until you become a parent. Like
That is
you
so
really
true.
just don't. And God forbid any of our kids go missing, it would be like, screw me. Screw me right now. Don't give a crap about me. I don't care what anybody's saying about me. I just
Mm-mm.
want to find my kid.
Yep. Yep.
Right. But it's poor me.
He
Poor
doesn't,
me.
but people wouldn't be digging into his past as much as they do if he didn't act like he does. If he didn't make it about him, people wouldn't have to make it about him. If he made it about Summer, we could join him in making it about Summer. But
That's
he made
exactly
it about
right.
her, and so we've had to take it away from him and make it about Summer, and that's why we have to talk about him.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they play
And
damage. They always
go ahead,
have.
Trevor.
He uses the Facebook page that
No.
they have, and it's literally called Find Summer Wells with a picture of her. And every other day, it's a post of them. It's a YouTube video talking about how they're innocent, or a news article that was fabricated to talk about how they don't think that they're guilty, or an apology video for him because he went on a drunk rant calling people racial slurs, or I mean anything but Summer. I look on that page and see nothing about her, and that was what that page was made for, is to use social media. In his words, he wants to use social media to find her, and they haven't done that ever.
Yeah, and I'd love for them to call WJHL or WCYB and stand in front of the camera and beg and plead for their daughter one freaking time.
They would give them
One
around
time.
the clock coverage. They would put a camera in front of them until they wanted to go home.
You
What
better
do you
believe
mean?
it.
What video? Where? What video, Lady May? Let me know.
Apparently, I think that page just put up a video, Justin. I saw somebody say something about it just now. It was a birthday video for Summer, I
To
think.
find Summer Wells.
Yeah.
Oh, with the one with the fake balloons, the recent picture they put up where they're walking with those balloons, those are Photoshop. The strings aren't even real.
Oh God, let's see here.
And there's nothing on there about her. On the picture, it's the two of them walking out of.
Oh Lord, 1 minute. Please keep Candace in your thoughts and prayers. Is what it's. Is it on YouTube or is it?
Yes. I think the one that she's referencing, yes, I think it's on YouTube.
Let me see.
And I'm just going to take a time to say, if you have any credible tips surrounding the disappearance of Summer Wells, and I say credible with capital letters, please contact 1-800-TBI phone, please. We have got to find this young lady.
Absolutely, she's gonna be 7. I like y'all go watch it later because he'll probably strike the shit out of me. So, y'all can go watch it, but we can go. I mean, What's so sorry, I get speechless sometimes with Candace. What are they saying is wrong with her?
Do you have all night for me to tell you what was wrong with her? Uh, who
What's
knows?
the
But
latest?
that's just it. Who cares? You know, that's
Right,
just it. Why do we? Nobody cares what's wrong with her. I mean, I'm not wishing ill will on anybody. I
right,
don't. I don't
right.
wish that.
No, I
But
get it.
this is not her. You know, and it's that's what gets so frustrating. There's so many. There's 2,000 different other stories that surround this case,
Yeah.
and 1,999 of them are not about Summer,
Hmm.
and
And they
that is a
use
shame.
the platforms for Summer to talk about themselves. If she wants to call her friends and family and ask them to pray for her because she has a health condition going on, or have somebody post about it, that's fine. That's what we would do. But that'd be like Justin putting up a video talking about a certain case, and really he just spends the time talking about something else. And
Right,
it's everybody's there for the case, and it's none of it's about that. But this whole
right,
video, you talk about yourself. I mean, then there wouldn't be a point in saying anything about Don or Summer or anybody. That wouldn't be truthful. And that's what they're doing. Find Summer Wells, and they're using the website, the page, the YouTube page, to say we're innocent. Please feel bad for us. And they use it to deflect. It says in that post about Candace's health this weekend, with her birthday coming up in an elevated time of stress, to be kind to them because stress could be fatal. You
Yeah,
have
and
to
those two
separate the
didn't even
two.
know her birthday. So
And you
now
have
all
to
of a sudden they
separate the
know their
two.
birth. They know her birthday now. So we're no, just no.
And I don't
and I,
care if she's sick or healthy. I'm still going to criticize her because those things can be separate. You can't say, well, you can't say she's a bad parent anymore because she's having heart problems. Yes, I
Amen.
can, because she's still a bad parent. And I'm going to say that. And I'm not going to say, I hope her heart stops working. I'm going to say, I hope that she cleans up and confesses to what she did and becomes a better parent because she's a terrible one. And I'm going
Amen.
to keep saying that, whether she has heart problems, head problems, health problems, feet problems. I don't care.
Exactly. It is a separate issue. You're exactly right.
it is. I mean, absolutely, absolutely. It is a total separate issue. Okay, let's get on to the next thing here. And I don't know if I
Since she's not here, I come to that conclusion right away. But just knowing
not play this
her,
one.
and that because we tried to scare the heck out of her and let her know.
Okay, yeah, we played that one. Okay, all right, next one.
It's really strange because I thought it was 5:30, but the 911 call says 6:30, 6:26 is when the first call come in, and that could well be. Sometimes I work till sunset. A lot of times I have been here lately, but I thought it was 5:30. But the strange thing of it is when we went to the Hawkins County to do our lie detectors and everything like that, they took all of our phones, and then magically all of our phone records from 3:30 on that day have been deleted. Oh, interesting. Yeah, me, my wife, and or her mother have all been deleted from 3:30 on. So they had your phones that day then? Yes, sir. And when did they give them back to you? They give them back, fairly quickly, but we never even looked at them until about, a week or two ago. We had some detectives that we talked to, a lot, and they wanted to know exactly this information, and we all looked, and it was all gone, deleted.
So that's a lot to unpack, right? Could y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this has always bothered me. Always bothered me. He's always said, I thought it was 5:30,
Mm.
but the 911 call, or they said 6:30. And then he goes in to say they took our phones, and magically all three of our phones have been deleted from 3:30 or 3 to 3:30 on.
Yeah.
No, mother chicken.
No, and
No.
nobody in their right mind believes that either. Give me a break. They download it. They don't erase it. So give me a break for starts. That's insanity. That whole part always made me
Deleting it
mad
would
too.
do nothing for them. They either download it or clone it. They don't
Yeah.
touch and delete. That would do nothing for them. They already have the information. Why take it off of yours? They don't.
Yeah.
They don't need to have it off your phone. They have it already. They took it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're
And
right, Justin. The time always that's one sentence that he said that he thought it was 5:30, but the 911 call says 6:30. There's one thing that you ought to be able to get right if your daughter is missing, and that is around a time frame, and it shouldn't be no friggin' hour difference whatsoever
I
at
mean,
all.
you would think that every moment, like, is like an eternity. Like every second is an eternity, and you're on your way. You're frantic. You're looking at the clock. You're like trying to get there. And look like these things should sear in your brain,
Yes.
sear in your brain. And I don't believe, and that is exactly right, but girl, everything is around 3 to 3:30. And why is that? Why is that? Um, yeah, it just doesn't make it's well. And then he says something. What does he say? The Everything was deleted, and then we didn't look at our phones for like a week after we got them.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me a break. Give
you
me a
was
break.
you was charging those mother Fletchers up. You was searching everything.
Better believe it.
And then they
Better
got those.
believe it.
They went out and got those new phones. Do you remember when they were pictured at the phone store very
Mhm.
early on? They went and
Hmm.
got those nice new phones. But they
Yeah,
lock them away for a week after they paid for those bills. They just put them away. Said, we'll open them another day."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They had those powered on at the phone store, ready to go.
Absolutely.
Born at night, but not last night.
No.
Yeah, I mean, uh, and this is the thing. This entire it's so hard to nail down anything with the times, and like there's certain times that we know of, but by the time they leave that grocery store, it's just everything is a mystery pretty much.
Yep. Yep.
And they got us there. But Don, from his own lips, said that they broke down the door the 11th time, and which gives me encouragement. Actually, it gives me a lot of encouragement, and because I feel like they have to have a reason to break down your door.
Yeah. I mean,
You got
that's
to have a
exactly
warrant.
right.
You got to tell a judge.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it true? That's the other thing. I go back to, I don't believe it. I swear I
Right,
don't.
right.
I just don't believe it. I don't believe nothing that they say. We've not been able to believe them from day one. Why should I believe you on day way too many that she's been missing since then? It's just ridiculous. I mean, this thing is so far down the road that it's absurd. And then it's absurd to me that for a year he was in jail and Candace is off doing whatever she's doing. And then the moment he comes back, I kept waiting for it. It took a little bit longer than I thought, to be very honest. But and everybody on YouTube, if you've got a brain, knew they were coming back on that he would be back. But he has changed nothing. So it tells me that they know exactly what's happened because there's not been any new revelations. If he knew what was going on, why wouldn't he say something? And he was innocent and she was innocent. Why wouldn't he have said something while he was in jail? Why did he not have a detective in his jail, right at his jail cell every single day, talking to them every day? You would be calling and asking them, I didn't do anything to my daughter. I might be in trouble for something else, but you're going to come talk to me about my daughter every day. And
Well,
they've
he
not done that.
he can't even take accountability for that. He talked about that his DUI wasn't his fault. He wasn't drunk. He said it on a live. He said that to me on the phone. He said that they threw me in jail because I know I'm playing people for the call now, but he said they flipped my house upside down and they threw me in jail. The police threw me in jail. I said, Don, they threw you in jail because you committed a crime. That's not had anything to do with Summer. And then
I
he
Yeah.
remember you saying that. Oh, we got so mad.
and he told me that later on. He told me that he wasn't even drunk. That they just threw him in jail for a DUI. So I mean, he, I don't even. You can't expect him to take accountability for anything when he can't even for something that obvious. Like, yes,
Exactly, Trevor.
they found you drunk and threw you in jail. They're not just framing you. I feel like if they wanted to frame you, it'd be something bigger than a DUI for the kind of person you are.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. I mean, Summer has
And
all of our hearts, you know. It's fucking pathetic.
she really does. And here's the thing that I have to keep going back to. Regardless if they end up being guilty of this, I'm not accusing them of doing anything to Summers per se. All I'm doing is using their own words to question. That is all
Yes.
anybody is doing here. That is it. You can be, if they're innocent, good. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that they're innocent if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
But we're using their own words to
Mm-hmm.
question what has happened to their daughter. Why are they
Yes.
not asking for Summer? Why are they not begging and pleading for Summer? Why are they not out in the public passing out flyers for Summer? Why are they doing none of this? There is a reason why. And
Yep.
wake up and see why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the people who are taking up for him now, cow lady, the farm lady, she said last night, someone sent me a clip. She said, well, he was so sincere when he went up there on Josh's panel, you know, and the first words that came out of his mouth is, "You going to talk to me like this when the phone mother," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, if that's sincere, my God, I would be like kissing people's feet, if they were trying to help me find my kid,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
And just living
He was
in this
not.
area.
You're welcome to come up if you want, Josh, by the way.
Just living in this
Any
area
neighbors who want to
alone.
come up, you're welcome to.
I'm sorry, Justin.
No, go ahead,
And just
please.
just living in this area alone, I feel like I should hear about Summer's name and see her family out looking for her and begging people to look for it. And you don't see that here. You don't. There's a reason for it.
Yeah. You don't. You absolutely don't.
I mean, just within the first few days, he said, "See you in the resurrection." He basically just said it was over.
Yeah. See you in the resurrection, brother.
Yep.
That's all it is with him.
She's gone. She's just gone. Somebody came, they took her. They took my baby girl. She's gone.
Yes. She liked to twirl.
She liked to twirl. I don't know what show she liked. I worked 47,600.
You know, it is.
Sorry. That's exactly right. It's the same. He hasn't changed, and I honestly and don't think they are capable at this point of changing. And I mean, everyone's capable of changing. I get it, but they have no motive. I mean, if this hasn't been enough motive to change you, right? Like he's drunk as a skunk last night and nothing has changed. Nothing. And the thing is, like, I thought we would have a really good 6-month Jesus run with Don. I really thought we would. I really thought we were going to get a strong 6 months of Jesus with him, in the resurrection and all that stuff. But we didn't. He got out when, in October? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
October. Now he's already drunk, cussing us. So yeah. Looking for a coin, $10,000, which we're going to get to that in a minute too. I'm going to tell you that. All right, let's listen
It's
to
really
this.
strange because I thought it was 5:30,
Oh,
but the
already played that
911 call
one. Already played that. I'm sorry.
because the car was just sitting there, and I'm paying these payments, $600 a month plus the insurance, and it's just sitting there. And I thought, well, I might as well get some use out of it. And I threw all my tools in there and started driving it for a little while, just because, yeah. And so mainly product, yeah. But
so you take the truck, or excuse me, the car. How far away is your job? What are you doing?
It is 45 minutes away in Jonesboro.
Oh, crap. I'm sorry, guys.
Because the car was just sitting there, and I'm paying these payments, $600 a month plus the insurance, and it's just sitting there. And I thought, well, I might as well get some use out of it. And I threw all my tools in there and started driving it for a little while, just because, yeah. And so mainly product, yeah. But
so you take the truck, or excuse me, the car. How far away is your job? What are you doing?
It is 45 minutes away in Jonesboro.
All right.
Yeah.
What time do you get there? Do you remember?
I don't. I probably went and had some breakfast, somewhere or whatever.
Okay. He doesn't know what time he gets there. He don't know exactly what time he leaves. He probably went and had breakfast. Now, would you know if you had breakfast or not?
Yeah, I would think so. Directly, whenever this video was taken, right after, or whenever he did this audio. I mean,
Not too far afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Not
no,
too far.
yeah. And here's the thing, Justin. Remember, Candace tells us that she was at the hospital by 8 a.m. at the doctor with her mother, which AKA is supposed to be the emergency room at 8 a.m. And Dawn had left before that. Because remember, they were laying in the bed still. Summer was still laying in the bed asleep.
Yep.
So, Dawn, you can't use deductive reasoning and figure out what time you got there. I'm going to call bullshit on that too. Sorry.
Yes.
I just am.
Exactly. No, it's exactly bullshit. It's a lot of bullshit. I think there's some more of this.
I don't remember for sure. No, I don't.
Okay. What time do you call Candace, if you remember? I'm just trying to figure out the timeline and the window.
I'm trying to think. I'd say, maybe 3 o'clock or something.
3 o'clock. He called her at 3 o'clock. Now listens to what he says after this.
Like that. Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure of that at all.
And where was she when you called her? Do you know?
So I think she said she was either at Walgreens or headed to the lake, or I can't remember. But that's why I thought, well, I might as well just stay and work because, that's just what I do. But
That's just what I do.
Such a hard-
Go ahead. What, Trevor?
I was just joking. I said such a hardworking man because that's just
Yeah.
what I work. That's
That
all I
is
do.
what I do, brother. It could not be 3 o'clock.
No,
It could not be 3 o'clock. And listen, hold on. Someone, I can't remember. Was it 1 o'clock or 1:30 whenever they got the prescriptions?
it was it was one or 1:30, somewhere around
And
that time frame.
they said it would be ready in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I've been to that Walgreens. I've been
Mhm.
live at that Walgreens. I have been to the horse pond.
Yep.
Right? It's it's at the mouth of the horse, the park there, smack over across from the stoplights is a Walgreens.
Mhm.
Right in front of it. You drive all the way out there, you are not going to get a kid all the way out there,
Thank you.
get them, the clothes off of them and everything, run down the path, the horse path, let them splash, take a video with all of you, your shirts are on, and then saying Hunter was around, going around doing his own thing for a little while. She jumped in, he pulled her up out of the water for, she don't know how long she was under there, and go back and get your prescriptions in 30 minutes.
Oh,
No,
and
sir.
enjoyed a twisted tea in the meantime.
Yeah.
And who would take their child swimming for 30 minutes? There's not a parent in this world that would say, we're going to go for 30 minutes. You've got to be friggin'
That's what I've
kidding
been
me with
saying.
that.
We were on,
Yeah.
and I asked the same thing. I don't have kids. I'm 21, but I know multiple people that do, and I've worked with kids. And there wouldn't have been a time that, anytime that we had that little bit of time, that I know anyone who would take their kid and be like, "Well, let's go get ready and go get in the water for 0.5 seconds and get out." That's more of a process getting in and out than it is actually getting to swim.
It takes anyone 30 minutes to get their kids out of the water.
Facts. Facts. It's exactly right. And how do you live together and you don't even have your timeline to a T? That don't even make sense. You should
Yes.
be able, this whole I don't remember stuff, that's convenience, isn't it? Because if
Yeah.
I lived with somebody and I knew that my daughter was missing, I guarantee you I would know to the minute, at least to the story she's telling. And it's such a stupid ass story, they can't even keep up with it themselves, much less anybody else.
Preach.
Ugh.
Preach. And this is the thing. We forget all of these things that are said. You know what I mean? It brings, because there has been an enormous amount of information and BS in the past nearly 2 years now. And, this is when it was really close to after it happened. And we go back and we're like, no, no. I wasn't buying it then, and I'm definitely not buying it now. Definitely not.
Frantic, panicking. And I said, well, just in case, hang up and call 911. And, and I thought it was, for some reason, I thought it was 5:30. To be honest with you, I don't trust police. Just in a state of confusion and panic. I said, frantic, panicking. And I said, well, just in case, hang up and call 911. And, and I thought it was, for some reason, I thought it was 5:30.
Sorry.
To be honest with you, I don't trust police.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. I told her to, just in case, hang up, dial 911, right? To be honest, I don't trust police.
Yeah, because they arrest
but you're
you
the
every
first
3
one to
months.
call them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, the people's like, I don't like Cox. I'm like, well, damn well, you call them whenever you need something, don't you?
It's a fact. Yep, that's a fact. Yeah, don't trust them, but you're calling them to come find your daughter. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense why you wouldn't trust them. Okay.
What you love the most and care about the most, or what you should. That's who the people you don't trust is who you're gonna call. Makes sense.
That's exactly right, Trevor. That's exactly right. That wasn't. My head is splitting. Like, that wasn't the question.
No,
He's
not even close.
So bad at this. He's like terrible, but he's really good at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they can hold it in, but they can't hold all of it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's just
Best way to explain it is you ask Don what 1 + 1 is, he's going to tell you the sky is blue. Is it true?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ask him? No.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo. I need a shirt that says that.
We showed them all the information on our phones because they wanted to know. They wanted to know the timeline. So we showed them right then. When I got there, they wanted to know all that. And they wrote it all down.
And when you got there, do you remember what time you arrived?
I have no idea. I wasn't paying attention. I was on Messenger with Candace, and she was driving her mother's truck around looking for her in the area. Okay. So I talked to her the whole way there, and it's really kind of weird that we was able to talk all the way there because normally we don't have connection like that.
Right.
As soon as it's kind of odd.
And what was she driving?
Okay, so that we was talking about something he said previously in this interview, and he said that something to the effect of he tried to get a hold of Candace. I can't remember what it said earlier, but he was, and he wasn't on the phone with Candace. And I was saying earlier, but he said he was on phone with Candace the entire time. But earlier he was like, no. But now he's like, yeah.
And you know what's really funny? That this is what's even a dumber comment to make. They're on Messenger talking. So let me ask you a question. If you are out in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone reception, don't you think that you'd come better off at having connection for a regular phone call as opposed to a friggin' app through a phone call?
Well, through internet.
Yeah.
It's all internet, and it takes up like more, like a lot more.
This case, I mean, yes, it's near and dear to my heart, and it would make me I would be mad regardless where I lived at with this case, but to know that these people are in this friggin' county that I live in infuriates the ever-loving shit out of me.
Yep.
I went and hung flyers around this place multiple times to go back in a day, and they were gone.
Mine too.
And I got permission to hang them on businesses. They allowed me to do that. I didn't just hang them to be hanging them. I did it strategically and on purpose, the way that I thought would help best. And then you go back by the next day and they're gone. Why? Explain that.
Funny how that happens, isn't it?
You better believe it.
Funny how that happens. I don't know. He said, I forgot what he said at the other thing, but he was talking about he was, trying to get a hold of Canvas Canvas, not Canvas, uh, Candace rather. She was up on the hill looking. He had just gotten there, and I think it was when he was talking about looking in the building, but we're going to get to a piece of that in a minute. So it's like, well, was you on the phone the entire way? Which, listen, I have AT&T. It's the second most reliable towers throughout the United States, other than Verizon, and it's like neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get a bar on Ben Hill Road. At least a year ago, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, and that's something I evaluated with my kid whenever I was getting him a phone because he likes to watch videos. And that's what the sell was AT&T is much better when it comes to like data and streaming and that kind of thing. They have better service even than Verizon. And so I went that direction with it. Well, guess what? My kid doesn't have access to it either. And no, I didn't have my kid on Ben Hill Road. I had his phone with me,
Right.
checking to see just curiosity wise, and you don't have it. So how in the world are you using an app to call somebody as opposed to a phone call? It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. Joshua.
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, brother.
All right. How are you? Good to see you.
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I am doing fine.
Good. So we are revisiting some things Don said.
Oh.
And
Yeah. Don, he's not too happy with me right now.
Josh, you were amazing last night.
Thank
You really were. You really were.
I appreciate that. I left there not feeling so hot.
I know. I could tell. But
I did. Hold on 1 second here. I asked several times if we could talk about Summer, and he was not having it because he was enraged by what I had been covering the last few days, which was not flattering for him. And trust me, I've been on the end of unflattering coverage of stuff, and it sucks. But
we all have as creators, so
yeah. Well, for people to say that I baited him or whatever, I don't know if that's necessarily true. If I didn't bait him, he has free will. He came up, he called in, he showed up in the chat. He was saying stuff in the chat, and I said, well, if you want to just come up and say it. And I was ready to have that conversation, and I kept saying, can I ask you about Summer? Can I ask you a question about Summer? And all he would say was no. And then he kept bringing up Chris. And I said, well, look, man, that's between you guys. This is between, this is our conversation. But
he brought up Trevor too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Trevor's on his list with the rest of us.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, he said, oh, we were friends. I've had a conversation. Okay. So I've talked to Don on the phone probably 3 different times. 2 of those conversations were pretty similar to what you heard last night. And one of them was me telling him when he was at work by himself that I said, I believe that Candace has lied to you and got you in something that you can now not get out of. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's self-explanatory, but I understand, you don't want to lose your family. You don't want to this or that. But I said, how do you know, Dawn? How do you know that she's telling you the truth? If you were at work, and he says, well, because of her broken heart or whatever. And I said, Don, that's not proof of anything. And that was our conversation. And I said, and we ended it very, I guess nice. And I said, I'm praying for you and your family. And this was pretty early on, like within the first 6 months. And then I did a show where I criticized him and Candace again. And I got a text message, a phone call, and it was legitimately close to the same conversation we had last night. It was a bit more graphic and nature, and he dropped a few more N-bombs than normal that time we were talking. And so this whole, well, you're a whole different person, you treat me different. Well, none of that's true. He's never treated me different. We had one conversation. That didn't end in him screaming at me.
Right.
So, and by the way, you could see, I don't know how many lies we caught him in last night.
That's why he was triggered.
Oh, he was
exactly
pissed.
Well, and I think that he was already pissed at you because of the phone call that you revealed a day or two before. You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
I think, he was already on fire with you. And then that, the next live happened, and then it was on. I mean, there was a creator that was in there yesterday, and she went live yesterday, and she's like, Don came up respectful. And I'm like,
what
words out
conversation
of his mouth
were they watching?
Like, yeah. I'm like, and they're like, they baited him and everything like that.
What is he, a fish?
Like, he's a grown ass man.
Oh, no, he's an old ass man.
They said the same thing about me when I called him. I was so mean to him, and that's why he called me those things. They said, well, that's what happens, Trevor, when you say those kind of things to him. It's like none of these things excuse the way that he talks. You can't nothing. And it's the comment that he made yesterday. It's the same thing. He thinks it's about him. He said to Josh, he said, we were friends. If you are in this for Summer, which all of us on this panel are and many others, we're not looking to be friends or enemies with Don. We are looking to find his daughter. If he wants to make it out to be other things, he can't. But I didn't call him the first time or the second time wanted to be friends with him. I called him because I'm trying to help find Summer. Right. And if he wants to get mad and rage on us and say that he hates us and whatever, that's fine, because I didn't want to be best buds with Don. I wanted to find his daughter. And he wants to say that we were nice to him and mean to him. Nobody, it doesn't matter if they're nice or mean to you. We're trying to find Summer, not you. We know where you are. We're not trying to find you.
Yeah, we wish we didn't. Justin, let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Do you so you've seen my coverage of Dawn and Candace over the year and a half.
Of course.
And Muscles and Mascara, you have as well. Yep. In what world is what the hell is he talking about? Where I mean, I've just been downright brutal about them, and I've never strayed from what I believe happened, but I'm not going to throw out accusations and say that this is exactly what they've done, but I've never been on in their favor because they've shown nothing for that. And the whole time Don was in jail, and even before the first time I ever interviewed him, I said to him, look, I have been critical of you. And he said, that's okay, brother. Everybody has. And I said, all right, well, here we go. And then he accuses me. He's like, well, he didn't accuse me, but I said, I don't know what happened. And he says, well, I don't know if you came here and took her. And I said, well, I've never been to Hawkins County before. It was just he was mostly mad, obviously, because of the whole thing about him and his sisters, but he kept bringing that up, not me.
Listen, he told those stories. I mean, he gets mad at his own words. That's the thing. And Don, he has told, I mean, Marissa and everyone this, like, he'll be, come on, y'all, let's be friends. And he'll say, let's be friends. It is nothing about a friendship. You know what I mean? We don't need a friendship. We're not here for a friendship, Don, just like Trevor said. So
Yeah.
it's constant. He wants to be your friend, and if you are not babying him, patting his little cheeks and saying, we're friends, a kumbaya moment, then he's your mortal enemy. You can't ask him reasonable questions about his own words that he has used.
No, you take his words and put them between two pieces of white bread and call him a shit sandwich, and when you throw it in his face and it still tastes like a shit sandwich, why
Yes.
are you going to be victim? You're not a victim of that. It's your words, and that's what everybody's used to talk to him is his own words. Why did you say blah blah blah? You said something that I want you to address, and if you're going to come up on a panel and talk to people on a public platform, number one, and try to use the words that you're using and then people throw them back and ask you a question and then you become offended by it, then you need to exit out of YouTube and turn off the internet. I mean, I'm sorry, but people are going to question you. You should know that. You should know people were going to look at you, side eye you. They would do that to anybody that's missing a child. If their story is as dumb as the one that we're being told and they're trying to feed us, you can keep that shit sandwich because I'm not interested in it because it is nothing but shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. By the way, I was doing a show last night about his safe and what was in his safe, and I wasn't talking about his stepsisters. He continuously brought it up, but if you listen back, I said about 4 or 5 different times, and if this, if you want to say that I was baiting him, that I missed an opportunity to talk to him about Summer, I asked him
You asked him that,
like
Josh.
4 or 5 times. Okay,
Yes.
can we talk about? Can I ask you a question about Summer? Can we talk about? But the questions that I asked him, he didn't like. He just got mad, and then when I followed up with a question,
It was,
with the
man,
whole,
F you. Man, F
yeah,
you.
it went nowhere fast, and um, so he was he was an angry man last night, and I probably would be too if I was him, and he has every right to come up and defend himself or try to defend himself, but he's defending the indefensible. Like there's nothing you can say about that situation that's going to change my mind, and he knows that. So I moved on from it, and that wasn't me. That was him continuously bringing it up. And I said, "Look, man. Okay, if we're going to go down this road, then this is the road that we're going to go down." And I knew in my mind, I was just like, "This is not going to go good for him."
Mm-hmm.
And when I kind of switched onto that, okay, if you're going to attack me like this, I'm going to just let you have it. And the longer you stick around, the worse it's going to get. He had every opportunity in the world he did. Matter of fact, he did hang up. Not only did he hang up, then he called back and stayed on the phone for a very long time. So, I don't see how that's baiting him.
It's not. It's not, in my opinion. I want to answer this question. What if Don really don't know? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't know. And that's, if he doesn't, he doesn't. But the behavior that he's more interested in himself, in not talking about Summer, in not talking about the situation, and not really making an effort to think about what time it is.
Yep, that's my thing too, because I keep saying if neither one of them had anything to do with it, okay, but
I still don't
there's a
think they're good
reason why.
people. I
Yeah,
just don't.
I don't
It's not
either.
gonna. It's
I-
not going to change my mind of whether I think they have been, good parents. I mean, you have 7 children.
Yeah.
And they've been taken away. And that's not just my opinion or anything. That is a factual basis that these have legally, in different circumstances, has been taken away permanently. They don't just take your kids away permanently. If you are trying to make an effort to get your kids back, that is what they want. And if they see that you are making that effort, that you are meeting that, my best friend who lives, I can literally probably touch her from my house, is a CPS worker. We live literally next door from each other. I talk to her about this stuff all the time. They need effort. That's all they need is an effort. Piss clean and do good. Make a
Yes.
better
And a
effort.
working bathroom
Clean your
door,
house. Yeah, exactly.
toilet
Exactly.
lid,
Exactly. And that's all it is.
impossible hoops.
You don't have to have the best house. You don't have to
No.
have the cleanest house.
Well, it's just like
Or
we talked about,
anything.
Justin, when I was on the first time with you. We talked about our upbringing and how we talked about our families never, and plenty of other people write this, but we both talked about how we didn't have the best and most of everything. But
Yeah.
there was never a day that we had to worry about stepping in this, that, or the other, or living in a house that was not cluttered or dirty, but was dangerous.
Yeah.
That's where the line is crossed from. They're just a impoverished family that can't afford this, that, or the other. No, they put their children's lives in danger because they have 5 other million priorities that supersede them, and we see that now.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, the base. I mean, Summer's room is what nightmares are made of. That's a little girl's room. What Chris showed us down there, that's a little girl's room. Going down those dark ass stairs and freaking mold up the side of the wall, not a window in the room. Going through I mean, no.
It takes zero money to give a kid love and to give a kid attention
Exactly.
and to do all those things. It takes $0 to do it. And if you're not willing to sacrifice everything that you have, every dollar you own, every meal that you may need to eat for you don't eat for 3 days so your children do, that's what parents do. That's what true parents do. But you can't use this thing that they didn't have the money and they didn't have this or that. They had enough to buy their drugs. They had enough to buy their beer, their liquor, their cigarettes, whatever else you want to throw out there. So you chose something, a substance, over your children. Don't come playing the victim on YouTube. Sorry, because that's not going to work for me. It never will, never has, and I don't care who it is. It's never going to work for me.
Continually drilling them isn't going to get it closer to finding Summer. You're exactly right, but neither is kissing their ass. Simple.
I can't see that comment, but did somebody say grilling them? Look, Don grilled me, and I was the victim last night. I was the victim. I mean, how can anybody look at what he said last night and defend him? I'm the victim of what? So he said he's the victim with his sisters and Summer. And by the way, I want to say this. If he wasn't involved in Summer's disappearance, he absolutely is a victim in that case.
Absolutely.
But, let's reserve judgment there. I don't know what Don has done. And I've said that continuously. And by the way, the other side has said far worse things about Don and accused him of far worse things than I have ever even imagined of doing. I would never accuse him of something like that they have accused him of openly without knowing anything. Look, I have my suspicions of a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I suspect that I don't say because I don't know.
Right.
I just don't know.
Right.
So, whatever.
Again, we're just using their own words. Or only using their own actions. Because I'm like you, Josh. I'm not saying that they did anything. I don't know that they did.
Well,
But
they just don't
regardless,
act like people that haven't done anything. Well,
that's right.
especially Candace,
Right.
she is hiding behind Dawn again, because
I
when
mean,
she was out and about, she was just
particularly a mother not
right.
wanting to voice a mother not wanting to. I mean, it's
Talking about going on the Steve Wilkos show, like so what's who
yeah,
cares? Like Dawn's like, I'll go on there. Well, of course you would, you weirdo. Like,
yeah,
but with Candace, no, and that's who, um, that's who people really want to hear from. We've heard enough from Dawn, but
right.
Candace doesn't go into any detail, and you know, fine, I'm not. But once again, when he was on a panel the other night and everybody's like, call in. And I said, no, he knows how to get a hold of me.
Mhm.
I'm not baiting him. I've covered him the same way that I have since day one. Before I even knew who Chris McDonough was, I was very critical of Dawn and Candace. And um, if that somehow me defending, and by the way, people saying, oh well, that has nothing to do with Summer. Well, okay, well, I can talk about whatever I want whenever
Mhm.
I want about whoever I want when I choose to.
Mhm.
My channel isn't specifically only Summer Wells. It is a big focus for me. It has been for a long time, but I've covered a lot of different cases. I've talked about a lot of different things.
Mhm.
And if people want to, we want to stand up for Summer, but we also want to stand up for victims. And when somebody openly admits the things that he's done and the way that he viewed a 5-year-old and then
Mhm.
his 5-year-old daughter goes missing, well, I would think that may pertain to what's going on.
And you could ask Don or Candace, Grandis, when's the last time you talked to TBI? Well, they have my number. They
Yep.
can come up here anytime.
Yeah, they got my
Brand has
pager.
stepped in front of that tree and said that
Who
the only time
says
she talked to him
that?
was over YouTubers down at the end of the driveway, but she hadn't talked to the FBI in months.
Who says that? Brandy Neal. I played an interview today. She says we talk to the police nearly daily. Nearly daily. That's what you expect. That's what you expect, right?
They're the ones that get the ball rolling. People keep saying he keeps saying that he wants to go on social media and get the word out, keep things going for her. But the ball's in their court. If they showed up to TBI, if they called them, they're the ones that have the voice or that have that say in Summer. I mean, that's her parents. If they raise Cain about actual things like, can you investigate this? Why isn't this? What's going on? More things will move. But they expect us to do it while they sit out here and make a fool of themselves the whole time, and they get mad at us for bringing it up.
Exactly.
And there's going to be another Summer Wells. That's the thing. It's perfectly what Josh just said. Is talking about these things is the bigger picture, because unfortunately there will be another Summer Wells, and there are more Summer Wells in the world, and there will be
There's
another
a
child
lot of them.
parents like she does that need people to be their voice. And what we can hope for is somebody to step up before she goes missing. Anybody that follows this case would have rather had somebody step up and say something before this happened, and she be safe now. So if we can do that for another child, then speaking on it is absolutely important, and it does matter, even if it's not directly about what people are wanting us to talk about right now. But it's the bigger picture of saving another child, because no other child deserves to have happen what happened to her.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I think, and like Josh said, people want to talk more to Candace because, to be honest with you, I'm more suspicious of Candace than anyone.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think that's, in my opinion, the reason she doesn't want to talk to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason she just shuts down, completely shuts down.
Yeah. As a mother, and I can say it because I am a mother, but as a mother, you know, if your child is in your care at the time and they go missing, and you're not out beating doors down trying to find your daughter, and I'm not taking anything away from any man either, please don't think I am, but it's just a mother's instincts just different. And if
Sure.
you don't react in that kind of way, people are side-eyeing you. And it's not just people in the public. The friggin' FBI's going to side-eye you too. It's just the way it is.
It's
Because it's
human
just a
nature.
known, yeah, it is. And there's just something wrong with that we didn't hear from her for weeks. I mean, we didn't hear nothing from her, not anything. There's something wrong with that. I'm sorry. It maybe it's judgment. It is casting judgment. Maybe so, but silence speaks volumes for me too.
Well, I mean, you listen. People say, I don't judge. I don't judge. I don't judge. We judge every day. You make a judgment the first time you see a person. It's human nature to make a judgment. You know what I mean? Now, judging them based upon this or this or this, being prejudiced versus judging is different, right? But you're going to judge someone because it is not a normal thing for a mother not to be out in front of these cameras pounding pavement.
Yes.
You know,
Especially when you're on there soliciting for dates and flirting with men on the internet, but you didn't come forward for your own daughter. Think
yeah,
about that.
And they can't.
yeah.
She can't drive to go see her kids in care, right? She said that was too far, but she'll
Well,
drive out of state to go see her favorite YouTubers, right?
yeah, well, she goes on Dr. Phil, and I feel like they're interrogating me. Interrogate me, mother chicken. Let me find my daughter. Let's get it off me for a minute. Sorry.
Yeah, and let me just address Sweetleaf really fast. I don't know if you know the definition of badgering,
Oh,
but
please.
that's
That's
not
way
that is not what happened. I didn't badger him. I was trying to talk to him, and I didn't even pay attention because I don't really care, but he probably called me every single thing that you can call somebody. He was the most disrespectful. He was angry, and I didn't badger him one bit. What you're saying is not true. Go watch again. I'm quiet several times. I give long pauses. He says, let's just be real for a minute." I said, "Go ahead, Don.
Yes, I was
Go
going to say.
ahead, please. Don't you get that?" I said, "Yeah, I get it. I understand. Da 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 da." I didn't badger anybody, so don't say I did, because I didn't. And like I
He
said,
called you
I can talk
twice.
about anything I want, anytime I want, and I will.
Yes, and that is exactly right. And Sweetleaf, you have said you're done with me and Josh and probably everybody up here on
Well,
this
I'm done
panel
with you too. I don't
already.
even
So
know
we're
who you
done with you too. So we're gonna.
are. Never even seen you before.
I've never either, so it's probably a troll account. Um, yeah, he's majorly defensive, and he's deflects everything. Deflects everything.
If us
Oh,
talking to him about facts is considered badgering, I'd hate to hear their definition of what he does.
Yeah, yeah,
Facts.
yeah. And then he said, "Well, why you want to prosecute me?" I said, "I can't prosecute you for anything.
yeah.
You can. I mean, you can only be prosecuted for the things that you've done. I
Yeah.
am not the one. I don't decide who
Not a
does
judge,
what.
not a jury.
No, I don't decide that.
Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time. I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. I have my own opinion. You have your own opinion. I just speak my opinion on here, and I try to speak the facts of, so.
Well, no, the beauty thing about YouTube is anybody can open their own channel and you can go up there and say whatever you want to say on
Yep,
your own channel. That's the
yep.
beautiful thing. Nobody makes you be at one place. You can go wherever you want to. So, and you can tell whatever story you want to tell, wear it out. But when we're just using their own words and we're just dissecting what they say, what they have came on YouTube themselves and said, it's not badgering. It's just their own words. And again, it pisses people off and it pisses them off to throw them back in their face. And so be it. I mean, that's what's so frustrating. And I commend you, Josh, and Justin too. I mean, I commend you all, Trevor, everybody that doesn't kiss their hind end or roll out
It's
the
like
red
that.
carpet for them in hopes they're going to say something. We all should be smart enough to figure out they're not going to tell anybody a damn thing, or they would have done said it.
Oh, if they haven't told the freaking FBI, TBI,
Exactly.
Hawkins County, they're going to tell a YouTuber.
Yeah. I mean, so this, I get tired of hearing that whole thing kissing their honey and in hopes they're going to, they're not going to.
You're not
They're
going to get
just
nothing
not.
out of it.
So give us a break.
They have there's no intent, there's no intention there. And basically what it is him trying to turn it around where, this was all manufactured to ruin his life. Um, I mean, I can't tell you how many times he lied last night. It was a lot. And he would say things like, well, they signed false statements. No,
Yeah,
they
he was
didn't.
speaking the words out loud.
And that Chris forced them to sign false statements, and there was only two. And I said, no, there's not only two, Don. And then he went on later. He goes, well, the third one was dumb, and it didn't make any sense. Well, just because it didn't make any sense doesn't mean there wasn't a third one. So, people get mad. They're like, Don is like 20 years older than me and had a lot more quote unquote life experience. And you would think that it was like the Dalai Lama talking down to some simpleton. That was not the case. Don is a grown man capable of speaking. It's not my fault that I'm a little more articulate than him and maybe think a little quicker than him. But that could be age. That could be the drugs. That could be the alcohol. I didn't do that.
About three. Well, last night, Chris is like, there's three like that. And Don's like, there's two. And he's like, no. Chris is even like, Chris is like, what's her name? Like that. And finally, Chris is just like, okay, so there's a third one. And he's like, well, yeah, but, but
yeah, but there's like it's not really like I mean, it's just, it's just a kind of like it's just, it's just like, I just,
And by the way, none of that even was coming up until he was really trying to paint me into a corner, telling me that I'm lying and that I was making stuff up. And I'm like, okay, well, I really did try to talk about Summer, and I asked him about the walk, and then I asked him about the time discrepancy, and all he would say was, "You're not listening. They say that's your problem. You don't listen." And I'm like, whatever, dude. And then he would say things like, "Don't you talk over me," So I'd be quiet for a second, and then finally I'm like, you know what, dude, you're a pile. And let's just put it out there then. If that's how you want to act, I don't know why you came over. I don't know why you wanted to talk to me. You knew it wasn't going to go well. And it didn't go well.
He wanted it to go the way it went, I think, because the moment he came up, he's like, oh, so you're gonna not talk crap about me. He said it in a different way though. To my face, and you're just like, I'm talking the way I talk, Don. You came up here, you want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. And then you finally, he's like, you let him talk, just like vent it out, and then he's like, hello. And you're like, well,
yeah. And I said, oh, no, man, I'm right here. I'm just listening. You told me to shut up for 5 minutes. I mean, this is a fluid show. 5 minutes. You're going to have to do some talking then, man, or I'm going to have to chime in.
Yeah.
And I was quiet. I did let him speak. And when he would speak, and I would just wait for, okay, well, what else are you going to say next? And then he'd go, you there? Yeah, unfortunately. And he hung up like within like 3 or 4 minutes the first time. And I'm like, okay, well, that was it. Wasn't a big deal. It was very, and then all of a sudden I look down at my monitor and I go, oh my God, he's calling back. Can't help himself. And that's when I just said, dude, don't keep calling here and hang it up. Like if you're gonna hang up, basically. How is that baiting him in any way, shape, or form?
It's not. It's
No.
not there. There's no baiting.
You walk over there and call. You go grab his phone and dial in for him.
Right.
Talk to you.
I could probably do both parts. Like, I'd be like, hey, Don, how's it going? Whatever, you mother effer.
Oh, Chris McDonough, Chris McDonough, Chris McDonough, Chris McDonough, Chris McDonough.
Oh, God.
His
And by the
favorite
way,
thing.
I've heard also, this is another funny thing. I've heard people say that I ambushed him. That, by the way, that had absolutely, like, that just happened. I think Chris was listening, and that's when I said, hey, if you want to talk to Chris, I can set that up for you, man. Well, I don't want to talk to him. It's like, well, you've brought him up like 9 or 10 different times now.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of tired of that. So I just patched Chris in and go, hey, here you go. Have at it, man. And he engaged with them. He could have hung up, but he was fixated. He was fixated on Chris. He had an axe to grind with Chris. Chris ruined his life. And so go ahead and just take it up with him. And, but that didn't go very well either.
I mean, that's his favorite thing, though. He even did that when he called me. He didn't even know if I even knew who Chris McDonough was. Like, I mean, I know that he may have seen, that you're on it, that he has been on with you and whatever, which still he shouldn't come on there and talk about him that much. But on my call, he was like, da 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 da. And then Chris McDonough, he ruined my life. This snake little blah, blah, blah. Chris McDonough. I'm like, okay, you've done 50 other things to ruin your credibility, but I find it enough that you talk about some YouTuber more than you mention his name more than you mention Summer. That's
absolutely. And he mentions anybody more than Summer, and that's the entire.
He very much weaponizes Summer's name.
Yeah.
When he feels backed into a corner, he kind of just throws her name out there like, they're ninja stars. And
I loved my daughter.
Yeah. What have you done for my daughter?
I was kicking in doors. I was kicking in the meth heads' doors. And
I don't know. I've only,
to twirl.
I've only talked about it for a year and a half, and I'm really sorry that I have put your daughter's name and face on, a bunch of different shows. I don't understand how that just because it's not playing out the way that like you want it to on social media or in the news or wherever. There's nothing that I could do about that. I've tried to be friendly. I have tried. And once I realized that, this is a game and he's not going to answer any questions. She's not going to answer any questions. They don't really care. Okay, well, fine. Then I'm going to report on that too, because I think it's all relevant.
Absolutely. It is all relevant.
I mean, we don't really take requests to cover it the way that we feel. But like I said, if there are people out there that do believe that they're innocent, I'm not going to call them stupid. I'm not going to call them dumb. Yeah. I'm not going to call them naive. That's, what? Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but I feel very adamant about this case and the way that it has gone, because of the actions that I've seen. And that's it.
This is my question, though. Say you think that they are completely innocent. How do you answer these questions that I was just, playing? How do you, rationalize this in your mind? The time, everything that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is
you can have
you can just say, I believe he's not innocent, or he's innocent rather, but this over here is still not fixed. If this is fixed over here, then I'll more believe they're innocent, right? Yeah, based upon their behavior, and they can explain it or prove it or whatever. But this is the thing, the TBI. And I heard on another channel last night that they said Don and Candace are not even suspects.
Who said that? Oh, you don't have to say. That's insane, though.
No.
What?
So,
not only are they suspects, they're the prime suspects.
well, this is the thing. I mean, if that's the case, I have not heard the TBI, Hawkins County, FBI, anyone say that they were cleared. And if you
Yep.
can't clear the parents after a year and a half, going on 2 years, problem.
Yeah.
And let's
Big
not kid
problem.
ourselves. Oh, sorry. Go on, Muscles.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, Trevor.
I was just going to say, let's not kid ourselves that the amount of tips and calls that they get about Dawn and Candace, they would love to be able to clear them if they could. You know how many fewer calls and emails they would get if they could clear them?
Mhm.
They would love to.
Absolutely. And I have a good word of advice, and just to maybe bring something up too, if people aren't aware, but today is officially a recognized day for Missing Persons Day. So Dawn and Candace, who have a platform out here that they could do something with, on the eve of their daughter's 7th birthday, nonetheless, and it's officially National Missing Persons Day. How about you use your platform for something positive? How about you go out here and advocate to find your daughter? And be aware of overzealous people, people who will encounter you that you've already encountered, who they really want to, they're overzealous in the way that they do this. And it's basically because they are people who are trying to use your own loss and gain something for either attention, money, whatever it is for themselves. And you got to learn to protect yourself from that. And if you'd have done that from the start, every single person on this platform, I full-heartedly believe, would be out there and would be supportive to you. But if you choose to act the way that you act, you certainly can't get upset at somebody. But just so you know, Dawn and Candace, today is officially Missing Persons Day on the eve of your daughter's 7th birthday. Summer Moon Utah Wells, who's still missing. Just saying.
Very well said. I mean, I've never seen parents act quite like this. But once again, like none of that makes them guilty of anything. It just makes people suspicious.
It makes it hard
Absolutely.
to at that point. It's not that we can say, well, you do X, Y, and Z, so you had to do this. That's not the case. But it's harder to sit here and trust that what they say is true when 90% of what they say isn't. So then that's when they lose a lot of people that may not have been so hard on them as if they would have kept the course and kept on Summer and told the truth, then it wouldn't be as hard to believe the things they say.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I mean, their credibility it's pretty rough. Like, one of the major things, and the funny thing is, everybody says, well, what do the sisters have to do with Summer's case? Well, I don't know. Why did they prank call Mary and do this whole thing that Donnie got arrested and she didn't know why he was going to why he was getting arrested, and to insinuate that he was getting arrested for, a drug debt, and puts out this whole narrative while she's fake crying and he's snickering and okay, well, do people have that short of memory, that short of a memory? I mean, to me, that was eye-opening and jaw-dropping. That they would even bother to do that. I mean, it did nothing. It did nothing but make them look terrible. And he was like, well, yeah, we made some mistakes. Well, that was a pretty big mistake, man.
Yeah, they know that everything they say or do after someone went missing would be talked about, whether it be little or big. If they're seen or heard doing something or saying something that it's gonna be talked about, and for them to go out and do that and let that become the attention is just, I mean, there's not even. It's just, it should have been talked about more. I mean, that was huge. For everybody's attention was then on that, and what that took away from was Summer. Even if they wanted to take it away from the sisters, whatever. But you take away attention from your daughter because you pull a 10-year-old trick and make a prank phone call while your 5-year-old daughter is missing, who knows where and what is going on, and that's what you have that's what you're doing with your time.
Yes. I mean, they and I have heard this from many people who have gotten close to Don and Candace, that they think a lot of this is a joke, is an
Yeah.
actual joke, right? And it's never been a joke to us, I can tell you this. You know, making prank phone calls, saying that there's arrested, for doing that to Don's sister and all of that, and just sick. Saying, and last night when he said he was a victim, when he was, to a 5-year-old,
I couldn't believe it. I didn't even think he would go there.
I didn't think he could go there either, Josh, to be
I
honest with
was
you.
like shocked.
I mean, I was like, that is even low for Don. Calling a 5-year-old.
That's low for
I can't even say
Don.
it. I can't even say it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's.
And not only did he say it, he doubled down, he tripled down.
Said it multiple times.
It was it was today and last night I was getting messages like just saying he's a victim ? And I said, trust me, I don't know what he means by that. That's when I said, but Don, if you stood in front of a judge and said, hey, I was, however old I was and she was 5, how do you think that's going to go for you? And go ahead and tell the judge that you were the victim. And by the way, this didn't stop at that age, by the way. It went on. Mm-hmm. And so, this wasn't a one-time thing. And by the way, if you notice too, he said everything. Like in their victim statements, he said, yeah, that's what happened. That's what their statement said, but they're lying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and this is the thing. He acts like, she literally screamed out of the bedroom and went to her parents and said, I can't do this anymore. And then he makes like, oh, Chris did this. She called the next day after Summer was missing because she knew exactly who Donald Wells was.
And I never even talked to Chris.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Didn't even know who Chris was.
No.
And that's what I tell anybody who comes to me. I'm like, she called the next day that Summer Wells was missing.
And they also talked to somebody else on YouTube before Chris got involved.
Bingo. Yes.
And it just so happens that, Chris could pass it along to people that
right.
And by the way, I do want to say this, that is a very open thing right now. Nothing has been decided. Nothing.
Oh, right.
It's not over.
And it's not for any of us to decide either. Well, I mean, we're not in Utah or anything anyways, but it's
well, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Say they do pick up that case, okay? Mm-hmm. And it goes to a jury. Mm-hmm. And they play those tapes in front of a jury. How's that going to go? Not well.
It's not going to age well, I'll tell you that.
Well, Jared Lysick got jammed up just from emails. From emails saying, look, yeah, I mean, he's giving guilty knowledge. We have, I don't know how many times he's confessed to it now. 3, 4, 5.
At least.
It's a lot. And
that's a lot. In multiple occasions. And then saying, you're asking for mercy from the judge, but he's saying I'm the victim. Right.
Right. And then they say, how's that going to help? How's that going to help Summer? I'm not sure, but I know that there's more victims in the world.
Well, I know it's going to help the other victims that Don has victimized.
What do we do?
He has anything to do with Summer or not?
When people, and this is just a hyperbole, but if you kill 5 people, you get charged with 5 people, mm-hmm. and then typically they sentence you. Say you get life, They give you 5 life sentences. Obviously, you only have 1 life. But does that mean that the other victims don't? They're not
No.
saying who they're serving the life sentence for,
Right.
but there's 5 of them because
Right.
there's 5 victims.
Mm-hmm.
Victims are entitled, no matter how old the case, if it can be prosecuted, it should.
Yeah, justice.
Agreed.
You gotta right the wrong.
And in cases
As
like
much as you
those,
can, at least. Sorry, Trevor.
in cases like those, it's like those people will live with those effects. Like we talked about, I mean, we talk about here in Hawkins County with Brendan Lawson, that whole situation. It's like those things matter because these people that were victimized will live with at least parts of this for their life, for their whole life. So to say, well, it's this much later, Don did that when he was younger, he was stupid, doesn't matter. If they're still living, knowing what happened and thinking about that and having those effects, then I don't care how old Don is now, how old he was then. It doesn't matter. He did that, and he should be held accountable for it, whether it has anything to do with Summer or not. Because if Summer wasn't missing, they would still deserve justice. So now that Summer is missing, they do, and that doesn't take away from Summer. But every single person he has victimized, they deserve justice, and he should be held accountable for every single one.
Yes, it clearly bothered, Don's, sister if she called the next day and said, this happened to me because of Summer's father, my brother, right? So,
yeah. I'm gonna hop down because I got a show here in a little bit.
Awesome.
But I appreciate you having me on, and it was good.
Well, thank you,
I'm
Josh.
glad that we could finally connect. I was supposed to come on your show, and I got the Rona.
I know.
Put me down.
I'm glad you're better. You sounded scratchy for even a couple of days ago.
Yeah, my sinuses have started to really clear up, but that even after I tested negative, my sinuses were still just like, oh man. And they're like, you're not contagious. I'm like, no, but I'm dying.
But I think, I hope you don't have it. Like I had it for months afterwards.
I am feeling much better and on the road to a full recovery. Because, and like I said, a lot of people have had it a lot worse. So I don't want to complain. I
understand.
We did well and got through it, but I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. What time is your show, Josh?
It's like in a half an hour or so.
Okay.
It's not gonna. It's just gonna be about an hour long, and
we'll make sure we get off and send everybody over there for you.
We'll
Thank
see
you, Josh.
guys.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
See you,
Bye-bye.
Josh.
See you.
Bye. I don't know. I just pray that Summer, that there's finally answers. I hope that, I know that the TBI want justice for Summer. That I know. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I know that they want justice, and they're doing everything in their power to get that.
Absolutely.
I think I missed somebody. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Well, Justin, I'm gonna get ready to hop too, but I did say earlier, I don't know if you heard me, but today is Missing Persons Day, National Recognized Day, and I think it would have been really admirable to see the Wells family come out and on the eve of their daughter's birthday, their daughter's 7th birthday, to come out and really use a platform for something positive. So what I will say is, Summer, if you can hear this and you're out there, we freaking love you with every inch of our beings, and we will never, ever stop until you get justice. I'll never lay my head down at night without praying for you, even when you're found. You have literally brought an entire community together, and people that will accept the love that you are capable of giving, but were never able to give and didn't have the opportunity. We pray to God that you get that one day, and just know that we do love you, and we're never going to stop. And yeah, we talk about, we have conversations about the parents, and everybody says it's all, it's about Summer, and yeah, it is about Summer. It totally is about Summer. It's always been about Summer. But we also have to consider what Summer endured, and we have to point out things that are not accurate and are not right. And if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes.
That's right.
And I appreciate you giving me a voice for a little while. But
Oh, I appreciate you, my souls. I know
yep,
how much, and just beautiful words you said. And I know that you and Trevor and Josh care so deeply. Um, it really annoys me when creators say about other creators, you don't care about Summer. You know what I mean? That really bothers me
Yeah.
because I believe everyone cares about Summer in this, to be honest with you, in maybe in different ways or whatever. But I believe everyone wants Summer found. I think, that is good.
yes,
At least everyone wants Summer found. So
yes,
Absolutely.
yes. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
appreciate you, honey.
Always.
All right.
Good night, guys.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Oh, Trevor, do you have any words you want to say? It's man, I just pray that this, I don't know, you have busted pavement, you've ran over hills, you've done so much, Trevor. And you have done it without the cameras, and without a lot of stuff. And I just can't thank you enough. You are really, to be as young as you are just amazing. There's not many your age that are made like you, and you are a true champ in my eyes, for sure.
I really appreciate that, and I wish that all of our efforts would, and I think they will, but wish that would have faster come to answers. I wish we could have searched way less and found her, could have not had all this, but it's just as important having people like you who not only cover the case but genuinely cover it. I mean, it's wonderful that anybody does, and nobody should be looked at that they don't care, but like you said, because they do. But people
Mhm.
like you that put this on and genuinely talk about what's real and what's not, even when it's uncomfortable conversations. Not everything we talk about is going to be delightful, thumbs up, positive when it comes to them and their family, especially with the things they do and say. But it's important to
Mhm.
talk about. So I do appreciate you
The last,
covering
oh,
these
no
things and
problem.
being able to have us come on here and talk about it and actually have these real conversations, not just the fluff that sometimes is put out there on behalf of them and it
Mhm.
doesn't really cover the crux of what's going on.
The last thing I think anybody wants to do is think that a parent could do this to a child, let alone any human being, much less a parent.
Right.
Um, but there is inconsistencies, and when there is inconsistencies that can't be explained, if the parent can't explain them, and there's multiple inconsistencies and a history with their own mouths saying it and us seeing it and being in jail multiple times, multiple charges, CPS, every child taken away, and the person thinks that they can't even possibly be the person. Not that they are. We're not saying that they are,
Right.
but can't possibly. That's what I have a problem with.
Absolutely.
Can't
I mean,
possibly be. Then that is the problem in my eyes. So,
definitely. I mean, it's like you can't. I mean, we talked about it. They haven't been cleared even at that point. But even if they hadn't, and there weren't inconsistencies, and they were really pushing for Summer, and it'd be easier to believe them. Still, we would have to keep all possibilities open, I believe, as a objective person. But it'd be easier to believe them. But I just can't, and I don't like being able to say this, but I can't find myself trusting what they say. And I have with other families. I've had a family before that I know had their child taken by another family member, and they knew it was an abduction. TBI was chasing them across the country. A little different, but they I knew had zero involvement because of they were driving around the country putting up flyers everywhere. The man lost his job because he just went he couldn't give notice. He just left because he had to go do these things.
he didn't care. You
Because
don't
that
care about a job when
it
you,
didn't
you
matter.
it,
Nothing else
yeah.
matters. In this case, everything matters but Summer. In that case, nothing mattered but his daughter. and they were able to find her. And I talked to him during the case, and I still talk to him now, and never once did I or anybody else think that he was involved, because we don't just jump on these people or criticize because we want to make them look bad and ruin their life like they claim to say. It's
Yeah,
because there are issues that we see, and if we don't bring them to light and point them out, we are doing a disservice to the victims.
that is exactly right, and that is so well said. It's so well said, and I would like to invite you back. I would like to finish some of these other things Don has said, and I also wanted to go over. Um, Don was talking about attorneys, how he needed $10,000 for an attorney, and I wanted to. I don't know if Don has an email or whatever, but I am going to drop a link because I got this from my friend. It is the manual for people who's had their children taken away, CPS, DCS, whatever you want to call it, and it gives them every resource.
Mm-hmm.
And I can mail him a hard copy if he needs it. He can get one locally, but he is supplied attorneys. The kids are supplied attorneys. He has said he's had an attorney. I've got him on recording saying he's had an attorney. So my question is, what does he need the $10,000 actually for?
Right.
Is it for other lawyer fees about something else? It's you don't just come on one day and ask for $10,000.
No,
It's very weird to me. It's very
it's
anything. I
not very
can't
often
have.
in your life you come around a random need of $10,000 all at once.
Mhm.
Doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, I mean he's DCS has, I'm sure, worked with them in every way possible, but they can't do the work for him, you know. Uh, as I said, my friend, like, she criticizes who she works for. That it's not necessarily the workers; it is the laws behind.
Right. It's the
They don't
system.
agree with a lot. It's the system, exactly, and she doesn't agree with a lot of things that she has to do. But
Absolutely.
it's the law and the law is the law.
Right. And I mean, their big thing now they're pushing, that Dawn is pushing, is that the kids, they just took them and they don't want to work with them or help them get them back. They just want to kidnap their kids. So DCS is broken up into different portions across the state. So Northeast Tennessee DCS covers multiple counties there, here,
Mhm.
etc. And I've worked with kids for years, so I've made my fair share of calls, and I can tell the story because the case is closed this years ago. It's fine; it worked out really well. But there was this kid, and his mom was showing up, and eventually they had to start walking. And he talked about how he didn't have food. It was just what seemed to me a neglectful situation. So I passed on the information to DCS, as you're supposed to as a reporter, and they worked with them and they got them the resources they needed. He never left her custody. They got her working and got her food, so they would have food in the meantime, and got her on benefits, and she made it back where she was driving him everywhere. He had food, she had food, and it was going great because she loved him, but she needed help, and those parents get the assistance they need. But she was also willing to put in the effort because she cared about her son, and that's not happening here.
It's not happening here, and the sad thing is this isn't their first rodeo.
Nope.
This isn't, I mean, they should know exactly the system as many times as they've been through the system. And I even have some clips about them, talking about, the system and stuff. And it just raises more questions than answers, to be quite honest with you. And it's, if they've probably been required to go to rehab or to be clean, right? that's most likely a requirement for Don and Candace.
Right.
And in my, I kind of think Don thinks if he thinks he gets an attorney, he can somehow still get the kids. But it doesn't matter if you have the best attorney in the world. You are required to still get clean.
Yeah. You can have
It
any
just,
kind of attorney. You can have 5 attorneys, 100 attorneys. If they show up on your behalf and you didn't complete the parenting plan that you need, and I know this for a fact, if you don't go and complete that, they won't give it to you. They'll give you an extension if you can justify that you'll complete it, but if you don't even do that, they'll terminate you, and you get one chance to appeal that. So maybe that's what he's preparing for. Maybe he's trying to get an attorney to appeal because he knows it's upcoming, but you get one chance, and if he can't prove that he was wrong done and that he deserves them back, it's over. You don't get to appeal over and over again. You get one appeal. If it's tossed, it's over.
yeah, and it's been over a year since the boy. And to be honest with you, I hope those children are thriving.
They are
I
if they're away from where they were. I mean, I think that hopefully where they are is doing a lot better because they deserve the same thing that Summer deserved, and that's a healthy, nurturing, thriving childhood.
yeah, yeah. I pray that they are, and I'm sure that they are. Um, you know, you're not put into protected custody for just anything. I'll just say that.
Right.
So. All right. Well, thank you so much, Trevor. I appreciate you as always. I would love to have you back real soon. And
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, and just text me and let me know, and we can get it set up again.
gotcha. Thank you, Trevor.
See ya.
Good night. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Listen, Josh is going to be going live at the lab in just a little bit. You may not get a notification, so check over there. YouTube's a little crazy right now with notifications. Some people get them, some people don't. But he'll probably be going live in I would say about 10 minutes from now. Go check out his show. I really appreciate you all being here. Please do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already. It really helps us creators out more than you know. It really does. And if you feel so inclined, it really helps. Even if you put a smiley face in the comment section after this video has ended, a smiley face, a heart, justice for Summer, anything. It helps tremendously. So thank you for being a part of this channel. You could have chosen to be anywhere tonight, and you chose to be here. And for that, I am grateful for each of you. God bless each and every one of you. Good night and God bless.